Hi, today we're going to talk about rising energy in the body. The last segment that we're going to work with in this series is the jaw and the ocular segment. So that is what happens is we're going along and an obstacle arises that keeps us from doing something that we want to do. So what happens then is the energy rises in the body, and it rises to the eyes, the voice, and to the hands. Reason being, because I'm going to need to move that obstacle or move around that obstacle. So the energy needs to be dedicated there. In my labeling, I might call that rising sensation anger. Again, like other words we've used here, that's a very big word that takes in a large spectrum of labels. Anything from complete rage to maybe guilt, which is kind of anger turned inward. So it can be mild frustration, annoyance, or outright anger. So it affects the liver. The liver is responsible for the smooth movement of energy in the whole body as a function. But all that rising energy can really begin to impact the liver. And again, if I'm uncomfortable with the labels around anger, I might tend to lock up these parts of the body because somehow in my mind, if I don't feel that rising energy, I'm not mad. So I'll do something like, ooh, 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 and you can see what I'm locking up here to keep that from happening. One of the most common areas that we get chronic stress and tension in the body. The other thing is eventually we blow our stack. And when that happens, most of the time we're not hurt. Someone yells and screams and it doesn't really land because there's no energy behind that yelling and screaming. So we want to learn to cultivate that rocket fuel of energy so that it is in our eyes, it is in our voice. So we can just look at someone and say, no. And they get it because they see it and they hear it. So what makes us heard is not volume, it's energy. It's when we dedicate energy to what we're saying. We feel it. So this Qigong is really a wonderful Qigong because in one way, it helps open up this upper segment so the energy moves. And in another way, it helps us learn to cultivate that rising energy and put it where we need it, when we need it there, and use it effectively. So the hands we're going to use, fingers, I should say, the points. This is one of my favorite ones because we're going to hold the index and ring finger. So the middle and little are extended. And I find it very amusing that that is relating to the whole anger issue. So I made up a little poem for this, which is you start with the middle and add a little. Because sometimes, at least in my world, the middle just is not enough. So we really want to learn, cultivate that energy. So we're holding the index and ring fingers. Breathe in, connect with that liver. The next thing different, all of these other movements we've done in this series, we inhale and exhale through the nose. This one is different. Inhale through the nose to the liver, exhale out to the voice, the eyes, and the hands. We're bringing it out. What's really important is our breath. We want to inhale to the same degree we intend to exhale. So that's why a lot of times when we lose our temper and we start yelling and screaming, we start feeling lightheaded because we don't have the breath to support the amount of force we're exhaling with. Just very easily in and out. So when we do this, we start out, again, we're soft. Shoulders soft, knees are soft. connecting with the liver. So in the inhale, open the chest. Exhale, squish it out of the liver. Pace the breath. Connect the inhale with the outhale, the exhale. Now this next one, I do 4 really synchronizing the breath, and then the last 3 I add some sound. So I'm going to apologize because the dog really responds to this energy and goes a little crazy, so she'll be out. Oh! 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 And then come back to a normal breath. Yes, thank you, Lulu. So that can be a little hard to do. It's interesting when we do that in classes because people can have a little bit of trouble getting that volume out on the last 3. Do it alone. Do it in your house. You know that saying, dance like no one is watching? Well, scream like no one is listening. But so the first 4 breaths in this movement, we're squishing it out. We're really learning about that balance between the inhale and exhale so that when we deliver energy, it's there. Breath is how we're going to deliver it. And then the last 3, we're going to give a little volume and let that energy be up and out. So that's your work with the ocular and jaw segment. Again, people aren't always entirely comfortable doing it. Do it alone. Everything from the fingers to the voice. So we're going to do one more video in this series, which is going to be all of these movements now in just one movement piece. This is how when I do them all together, how I connect them. So that will be our next one. So until then, stay happy and healthy.